I've always been a slow reader. I'm still a slow reader. I remember in early elementary school, the teachers would divide us into two groups, and they would never call the groups fast readers and slow readers. They'd call it by like colors, I think. But everybody knew. Everybody knew that there was a fast group and a slow group. I was always in the slow group. In first grade, our teachers would make us line up at the end of every month ordered by the number of pages that we had read that month. And I was always at the end of the line. She would have us line up, and then we would get to pick prizes. So I would always get the most terrible prizes off of the prize table. So early on, I knew that I was a slow reader. My mom definitely helped me through that. For a while, she would sit me down every day after I came back from school, and we would read together, and that was incredibly helpful. But to this day, I'm a slow reader. It took me a while to realize that it doesn't matter how quickly or slowly you read. What matters is that you love the act of reading, and I definitely do love the act of reading. Even though I'm a slow reader, I do read every day. I read for fun. I read in every way possible now. I read paper books. I read on my phone. I read on a Kindle. I read as often as I can, because I do derive a lot of pleasure out of it. But at the same time, there are certain books where I know I'll like it once I get into it, but it takes me a little bit to get into it. I have friends where they always get caught up in a book on the first sentence, or at least by the first page. And often for me, especially with fiction, it takes me a chapter or two before I feel fully invested. So sometimes the question is, how do I get invested in those first few chapters? I have found a few things to be helpful. Number one is I use my hands to read, or I'll use a ruler to do it, at least, and it'll get me through the first few chapters. Two is, this is something that I picked up from a friend of mine, I'll try to cast the book. So every time I come across a new character, I'll try to cast them. I'll try to think of an actor or an actress that I like and cast them in that role. Or three, sometimes I'll have to reread the chapter, until I can see it as a movie in my head before I move on. Audiobooks are also great. I think audiobooks have been, there have been books where I've started it as an audiobook and then I finished it on paper because I needed the audiobook for me to enter into the story.